Evolution, it's beyond a theory. It's the gradual development of something growing more complex. Every day, we're granted the ability to evolve with the intentions and choices that we adhere to. Today, we'll be discussing evolution's benefit on growth and success with Rochester, New York editor, podcast host, boss lady, CaTyra Polland. My name is Amanda Ashley, and this is Afternoon Cocktail, episode 104, Self Evolution. Welcome. CaTyra, welcome back. Thank you so much for always blessing us with your presence. Great.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back.
Oh, yeah. Awesome to have you. So, can you give our audience just a little refresher on who you are? Tell us a little bit about what brings you here with us today.
For sure. So my name's CaTyra Polland. I am the CEO of Love for Words, which is an editing boutique. And I also work with the Walker's Legacy Foundation. I am the contracted Rochester program director. So I assist with getting the Women Who Enterprise program off the ground, which is a 13-week accelerator for women in business here in the Rochester community. I'm also a published author, and I am the creator of Editor Knows Best, which is a podcast for authors and other literary professionals.
All such amazing, amazing things. I love hearing about what you have going on, and I always feel like we can never have enough time because it's just catching up. So it's awesome. So tell us, so you're really here today to talk a little bit about an event you have coming up with the Walker's Legacy Foundation. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. So the Walker's Legacy Foundation has successfully launched our first cohort, which started March 13th. We are about 8 weeks in. We have a few weeks left before graduation, but at this time, we are recruiting mentors. So if you are someone who is currently in business or is a former business owner or former entrepreneur, we would love to have you come in as a mentor. We have 26 women who are part of the cohort, and we would like to pair those women with a mentor who can give them feedback and advice, someone who's a sounding board, someone who has the patience and also the time to meet with the mentees. It's 1 to 2 hours a month, so it's not a very lengthy time commitment. But you would have the opportunity to have a relationship with the women in the program and help them on their entrepreneurial journey. And again, the Women Who Enterprise program consists of modules such as how to choose a legal entity for your business, writing your business plan, creating your marketing and promotion plan, also in pitching to investors, and some other great topics that business owners need to know to be successful in business. So the women are going through that program, and one of the components we offer is mentorship. So again, if you are someone who is in business or has been in business in the past, we would love to connect you with one of the participants who would be your mentee, that you would build that trust and relationship with, and again, guide them along their journey and be someone who can offer them resources and a place to discuss their ideas and get feedback. So feel free to reach out to me. You can email me at CaTyra, CaTyra, at walkerslegacy.com, or you can visit the website. The application is on the website. It's a 3-minute application. It's only 12 questions, just to get a background regarding what your industry is and your contact info, things like that. So it's a very quick, application to fill out to be a mentor. And you can find that on walkerslegacy.org.
I love this because I think, like, in terms of today's theme, that mentorship really plays a role in evolution. I guess the older I get, I'm starting to realize how important mentorship really is,
Yes.
and I think we should be, um, I mean, personally, I think it's most beneficial if we not only mentor others, but that we seek that mentorship, because I think that's the only way to grow. I think even the mentees, without even realizing, um, teach us something. They mentor us. We have
Definitely.
so much to learn from each other and to grow from each other. And yeah, I think it's really a beautiful thing. I mean, who have been some of your mentors? Do you have a personal like mentor yourself?
I do have a few mentors. I would say my mom would be one of my mentors. Just on a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
knowing some of the things that she's overcome. I'm very proud of her, and just to see the successes that she's had has definitely been. She's definitely been a role model for me. And then some of the teachers that I've had, like my first grade teacher, Mrs. Bouchard, and one of my other teachers, Mrs. Deli, I definitely consider them mentors. They helped me with finding, my where my passion lies in school when I was in elementary school, helped me foster my love for reading and writing. So those are some of my mentors. Also, my aunt Shelley and my other aunt Shari, again, they've been mentors for me. I have some, I guess you would call them long distance mentors. One
Mm-hmm.
of them is William Winfield. He's a motivational speaker, and I always, love to see his videos, and he offers such encouragement, to those in the community. There are, many people, I consider my mentors. One of my friends, he actually recently passed, Corey Lamar Tanksley, was definitely a mentor. So
I saw
there are
that.
quite
I'm
a few
sorry.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank
He was
you.
an author as well, right?
Yes, he was. He was
Hmm.
the founder of the Rochester Black Authors Association and
Oh,
the
wow.
mastermind behind the Rochester Black Authors Expo. So he'll be greatly missed, but he had a lot of characteristics and traits that I like to mirror, and I know he had a broad impact on the community. So there are many others. Rhonda Austin, I've worked with her. She is a virtual assistant, and she's helped me with my business. So I love to see the things that she's involved in and admire her perseverance and determination. There are so many. So no offense to those I, I didn't mention, but those are some of the people that I consider mentors.
I'm glad you mentioned so many though, because I think some people think that when you say mentor, that only means one person. Like that one person's supposed to like solve everything. We have so many sides to who we are, and to, I mean, you could have a physical fitness mentor, somebody that like, or like like you have that
Right.
wellness side of you, you have that business side, maybe the creative side, like there you could seek more than one mentor. And
Definitely. And I
yeah.
agree that it crosses lines. So um, at some points we mentor and other times we are mentored. And I think it's important also to recognize that it crosses ages. So just because someone's older doesn't mean that they can't be mentored, or that a 13-year-old can't mentor an adult, or vice versa. So I think we should keep an open mind for mentoring. And then also, I mean, a lot of our mentors are unofficial. So it's not necessarily someone who is assigned to you in a program, but it could be somebody who helped raise you, or somebody you just observed in your community. And they may not even know you consider them a mentor. So I think that's also important, that we don't limit ourselves um, to believe in order to be a mentor, they have to know they're a mentor, or that there has to be some official mentor program or connection. It can be very loosely based, it can be unofficial. And like I said, I do have like long distance mentors. So people I
Mhm.
haven't actually met in person, like William Winfield, I still consider a mentor. So I encourage everyone, like you said, to have mentors for different aspects of your life. It's definitely beneficial and encouraging to be able to follow other people's stories and see, that they made their dreams come true, which is proof that you can do the same.
Sure, absolutely. Well said. How do you feel about like evolution? Like every day we're evolving, right? If you choose to, I mean, if you're choosing to grow on a continual basis, every day is a new opportunity.
Mhm.
How do you choose to to keep moving forward and to grow on a maybe a daily basis, weekly basis, however.
Yes, so for me, it's important to ask for help and also take advantage of the resources that are available. So I do research, on different things personally and professionally. Um, so, like, I recently started taking black seed oil. I did some research. Actually, one of my friends, Anthony Lewis, another mentor, he works in business operations. He has his own business, DBI Management. But he had recommended that I use black seed oil just for the health benefits. So I watched a few different YouTube videos and testimonials. I did some research just about the benefits of black seed oil. So that's one way that I've evolved, and just being open to remedies to make sure that I am in the best physical and well, yeah, physical health I can be in. I also just restarted my membership at Orange Theory Fitness. I was
Mm.
going pre-COVID, but of course they closed down. So I just reinstated that membership. So I know I'll see the benefits of that soon. A little sore because I am on class 2, but I definitely enjoyed it. I'm glad to be back there. So I think that's a part of evolution as well, because originally I was just going to Planet Fitness, but then I did a trial over at Orange Theory. It's much more intense, and it pushes me to go harder and do more than I would, and not be so lazy when I go to Planet Fitness, because I don't have someone there to push me. So I recognize that's something that I needed to do. And then professionally, like, even being able to pull in other people, independent contractors, to help me with the tasks, I would consider that an evolution. When I first started my business, it was just me. I did everything on my own, but then as I evolved and I've grown and matured, I realized I do need a team to help. So expanding to getting a virtual assistant and bringing on a proofreader, those are other ways that I've evolved, specifically in the professional field. And then also, even related to my podcast, I changed some of the ways that I'm, writing the podcast descriptions. And, I've changed the design of the graphic and things like that. Just, observing, what it looked like in the past, and recognizing that it could be better. So I made those changes. So I definitely think evolution is important, and it typically comes from within. It's something, that it's kind of like a timer that goes off for you, and then you can take it from there and move in the new direction that you see is fit for yourself or your business or your family, or whatever aspect of your life needs to be revived or improved.
CaTyra, all your various endeavors, do you feel like these are opportunities that a lot of them you create them,
Mhm.
right? Are you
Some of them.
creating these opportunities to basically to secure like your needs as an entrepreneur in some way, like for the Walkers Foundation, like
Mhm.
that caters to your need for mentorship and having that in your life, editing and author, writing is your passion,
Mhm.
so on and so forth. Do you feel that that's how you maintain a balanced life?
Yeah, so some of the opportunities I created do, um, they satisfy the things that I need and the things that I want. But other things are to, again, encourage and empower others. Like, the
Mhm.
podcast is really about my guests, and really about the information that I'm sharing and the knowledge that I'm sharing. So some of the things that I have, it's a balance between fulfilling my desires, but I think more importantly, I'm encouraging other people, mentoring other people, or being a resource to other people. So many people are dealing with hurdles and adversity, and I want to be a part of um, lessening that, the impact of that. I have been, blessed and lucky in my life that I haven't experienced a whole lot of hurdles or tragedies and things like that. So I can acknowledge that, but I also recognize not everyone's life has been that way.
Mm.
Some people have overcome so many, trials and tribulations, and are down and out and need people to support them. They may not have support, and if I can be a part of their support system, then that you know I think that's a great thing, and I'm open to doing that. I'm willing to doing that, and I love to be able to influence other people and encourage other people, help motivate them, find their self-esteem and confidence, and help them along their journey.
Yeah, girl, keep humble. I think that's the way to do it. Uh, just because you might feel that, you've thankfully God's, dealt you like a beautiful hand,
Mhm.
we all have our low points too. Like I feel that way. Like I definitely have had a very good like life. I had a good upbringing, a lot of positives. And but at some point I've also had times where I've been very depressed. I've been at my lowest. I've
Mhm.
felt shame. I felt all the things that make us naturally vulnerable and still feel some of it. But yeah, I think it's, you never know, because everybody, their life is still going on and
Mhm.
things could happen, and your life could really change.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's good to remain connected with reality, and the people around us, and to
Mhm.
extend a hand and a heart whenever possible. CaTyra, going back to the Walker's Legacy Foundation and the
Mhm.
mentorship program that you had mentioned. So, how do you pair like mentors and mentees up?
Yeah, so we have a list of the mentees, their businesses, and their business industries. So based on what the mentors' answers are regarding their specialties and their industries, we'll do our best to make sure that those coincide. So we'll be using that. That's the primary determining factor, is the industry of the mentee and the industry of the mentor.
What if you have a mentor that's like not familiar, like that you can't match up, like that is unfamiliar with that person's, like, what they're seeking?
Yeah, I mean, it's the mentoring program is generic enough that that won't deter a relationship. Um, I know that even if they're outside of the industry, they still have something to offer. They can, provide them with information about their experience that would help the mentee, or different resources available to that mentee. So I don't foresee that being an issue, and it's not. We wouldn't turn away mentors just because we don't have mentees in that particular industry. You can still be a mentor, you can still teach, and you can also still learn from the mentees. So we welcome all industries. Some of the mentees that are in the program, they are in the nonprofit field. We have a few restaurant owners. I believe we have some in the beauty industry. We have someone who has a purse boutique. So we have diverse industries, and we're hoping
Mm.
that's reflected in our mentors, but
Ooh,
be able to help our mentees on their journey.
very cool. So are there certain requirements like for both to, withhold, like to hold up to?
Yes, so the commitment is 1 to 2 hours a month. And again, that's based on the mentee and mentor availability. The mentor should currently be in business, or have been in business in the past. Those are really the only criteria. It's open to nationwide, so you don't have to be in Rochester to be a mentor. You don't have to be from here to be a mentor. We don't have any age restrictions. The All of our participants are women of color. We welcome, of course, women of color mentors. However, it's open to all who choose to be a mentor. So we don't have very many restrictions, other than the biggest, commitment is the 1 to 2 hours. to meet with your mentee. That's, that can be in person or it can be via Zoom. That will be left up to the mentor and mentee. They can decide how they want to meet, if it's 30 minutes or an hour, or all of that is left up to those two. We didn't want to put any barriers on that. We obviously appreciate it's volunteered time, so we didn't want to make it too burdensome. So the application again is only 3 minutes, 12 questions, and it's a very loose time commitment. So we want to welcome as many mentors as we can.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such a great idea. I mean, so is there like any time limit? Like, is this like a 6 month thing, or is it just like, is it solely up to the mentor and mentee?
Yes, it can be ongoing, and again, it depends on the mentor and mentee. So, if you decide you want to have a standing, 1 week for the rest of the year, or maybe you just want to connect, for the next 6 months, we leave that entirely up to the mentor and mentee.
Very cool.
Although we do encourage an ongoing relationship.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that would be the ultimate, right?
Mhm.
So, tell us about the podcast. So, you said you just recently, well, you kind of switched things up a little bit. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so Editor Knows Best. Originally, I was just interviewing authors, but I've recently started to transition to interviewing other editors. I don't know of many podcasts that do that. I know there are editing podcasts. There are a few where editors talk to other editors, but not many. But for me, it's really important for me to interview other editors of color, or other Black editors specifically. That has been very enjoyable for me. I love being able to get their perspective, and learning that we often have a lot in common. We encounter the same issues, being editors in the literary field. So it's been really enlightening. And there's a lot of camaraderie when I interview with other editors, again,
Mhm.
just because
You
we
guys
have so
understand
much
each
in
other.
common. Yeah, so
Yeah.
much, so much in common. I do still interview authors, but not as much. And I figured if it's called Editor Knows Best, I should have a greater focus on the editing component, because I want to make it less daunting. I want people to have a better understanding of what the editing consists of, and also realize that editors are people, and that we understand that there are fears about handing your manuscript over to someone for critique. And in many cases, we're also authors and we work with editors, so we have that experience to pull on as well. So it's been a lot of fun being able to connect with other editors and hear about their best practices and borrow ideas from them and give them ideas. I'm sharing resources and just coming together to, again, encourage authors to work with editors and kind of lessen their fear about working with editors. We're not there as your opponents. We're there to help you. We're there to polish your manuscript. And in regards to the freelance, if you're working with a freelance editor, I always remind my clients and my self-published authors that you have the final say of your manuscript. So you shouldn't feel that you can't make changes, or you can't um, say that you, or decline a suggestion or decline a revision. So you have that power as a self-published author. So being able to talk to other editors about that has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet. I was gonna say it seems like I would have thought your podcast would have started with, you interviewing editors. So it's come full circle in
Hmm.
the end,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
good. I think it's cool to do keep the author thing going too,
Yes.
though.
Yes.
It's cool to have like the two different perspectives. And
Hmm.
for somebody who's maybe interested in doing more writing and
Right.
exploring maybe potentially writing a book,
Hmm.
like to learn more about both ends of it. So
Hmm.
I think that's like, yeah, that's very cool. I'm interested in tuning in to that as well.
Yeah, please
Um,
do.
yeah. So, I mean, what is it about editing over authoring that you enjoy more?
So my favorite part is the encouragement piece of the editing. So just letting the authors know that they can share their story, that they should share their story. They have a right to tell their story, and that there is a target market waiting for their story, or waiting for the knowledge that they're looking to share, the information that they have to give, and the resources that they're recommending. So I really just love seeing that transformation from day one on the complimentary consultation call to day 35, when they have their polished manuscript and they realize how important the editing process is. They appreciate everything that went into the book. They have their cover, or everything that they need, and they're feeling confident in their manuscript, and they're ready to publish. They're ready to launch their book and market. They're standing behind what is written because they're satisfied with the end product, and ready to write another manuscript or help other people, publish their books. So that interaction and being able to offer the encouragement is the most enjoyable part for me as an editor.
Do you feel that, I mean, when you say that, like that encouragement's a big part of it. I mean, do you find that most authors making their submissions to an editor are um, a little apprehensive, or like just, nervous and
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
So, a lot of the clients are nervous or apprehensive. They're not really sure if their writing is strong. They're not, or they've never, asked a professional for feedback. They've usually just gotten, a family member or a friend to take a look at it, which is obviously different than a professional. So they might not feel confident coming to a professional. They will be apprehensive about the cost as well, because editing is an investment. It's a high value occupation. It takes a lot of time. It's tedious, and it can be costly. So there are clients who come to me who are worried about that. But again, I just explain to them, that it takes time. I let them know, this is the focus of the editing. This is what you will be walking away with once it's done. These are the benefits. This is how it will help your manuscript, how will it help your brand, things like that. So those are the biggest apprehensions, is getting critiqued from a professional, and then also, if they have the budget or what their budget is for editing. So yes, a lot of the authors do have some reluctancy to working with editors.
From the time an author places their manuscript in your hands, I mean, what's the average like turnover time like for you to return it to them edited?
Yeah, so minimally, I ask for 3 weeks.
Okay.
It could be longer. It depends on how long the manuscript is, but more importantly, it depends on how much work the manuscript requires. So if it's well written and or it's already been proofread, then I won't need to spend as much time on it. But if it's like a first draft, if the person is not that strong of a writer, if it hasn't been proofread or edited already, that can add to time. So it really varies based on the length of the document, and also how well or how poorly it's written. So I always tell my clients, I do a complimentary sample edit up front, so that I can see the writing and make a decision as to how long it will take, and how much work it needs, and then I provide the quote. So it's fair to me and also to the author. So it really depends on the quality of the writing and the length of the document.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
So, I mean, let's say you edit the manuscript, right? Do you just you give it back to them and then they have to go to somebody else to like get it pushed, or could you offer services that um, bring them to the next step?
Yeah, so once I'm finished, I send it back to the author. I encourage them to, of course, go through the manuscript and share their feedback. Let me know if they have any questions. Once once I finish the editing, I'm done. I do have a network and I refer clients out. So if they need a publisher, I can refer them to a publisher. If they need a graphic design artist, I also refer that out. So I handle all of the editing component. Anything else that they need, I do have access to those professionals, so I can refer them, but I don't handle any other parts of that. I'm connected with public relations specialists who work specifically with authors. Also, yeah, marketing specialists who work with authors. So I have access to those circles, but that those are not services that I offer myself.
Gotcha. Very cool. So you have your own published book as well, a book of
Yes.
poems?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I published my first book of poetry. That was actually last year. It was the week of the that they shut down for coronavirus. I
Ugh.
think it was the 11th, and then they shut down on the 13th. So my book of poetry, it includes some personal poems about different observations and different things that I've experienced or things that I've seen. I think I shared on a previous show. My favorite is the Mocha Chocolate, and that one just talks about dark skinned girls and women and how they're often marginalized or overlooked or told that they're not beautiful. So I just wrote a poem, an ode to us, and just celebrating our beauty, acknowledging our beauty, and that we matter too, and that beauty comes in all shades. Unfortunately, much like so many other isms, colorism is alive and well. For those who may not know, that's basically discrimination and or prejudice against those with darker skin tones. I remember growing up, I got teased about my complexion, and I know unfortunately there are lots of girls and women who still experience that. So I wanted to write the poem to shine a light on that. It is something that I think is becoming more prominent and people are talking about it more, but it still requires more, um, publicity and more discussion so that we can overcome it. But unfortunately, it's still here. Um, and there are a lot of people, and not even just dark skinned girls and women, that also includes dark skinned men and boys who face discrimination as well. So that's one of the poems that really resonates with me, and I wanted to write that to be celebratory and positive.
Do you think you'll publish another book? Do you like ongoingly write poems?
Yes, I've written a few poems, so I'm working on my next compilation. I don't have a release date right now, but I've written like 4 or 5 poems, so I'm definitely going to be publishing at least another book of poetry.
How do you feel like your poetry has evolved? Like when did you first start writing poetry and up until now, like with all your editing experience and your experience with working with other authors,
Mhm.
how has that played into your evolution as a writer?
Yeah, I started writing poetry in middle school, so not that long ago. But it's changed. It's definitely changed since middle school. Had a lot of different experiences. So a lot of, and actually some of the poems that are in my book of poetry I wrote in high school. So I definitely have evolved since high school. More, I guess, more mature topics are were involved. New experiences, relocating. I lived in Savannah, Georgia for a little while. So that was a really big experience for me. I didn't have any family or friends down there. I picked up and went and did an AmeriCorps term and decided to stick around. So even, with just that experience and, grad school and starting several businesses. So all of those things have definitely given me a new perspective and have changed and influenced my poetry. And then even just, observations in the world that we live in, the pandemic and um, the uprisings and, racial unrest and racial tension and political upheaval and things like that. Obviously from a middle schooler's lens is different than, an adult lens. So I've definitely seen a growth in my poetry, regarding the subjects, but also, the way that the content is written and, my perspective.
Sure. I mean, tell me about Savannah. How long were you there?
Yes, I was there for 3 years.
I love
So
Savannah. It's so
yes,
beautiful.
yes, I have to get down there. I've been to visit since I've left, but it's been a little while now. But yeah, so I really love Savannah. As I shared, I did an AmeriCorps term there. It was at Step Up Savannah, and I helped with financial literacy, taxes. I did the script for one of their financial literacy shows on their public access channel there, and a lot of other things like helping with writing grants and things like that. And then I finished the term and decided to stick around. And then my last position, I was the enforcement program director. So that was with the Savannah Chatham Housing Council. So I, was over the um, tester program, and basically testers are volunteers that go out to the rental properties, so that we can determine if there's discrimination taking place. So we
Oh,
would send like one, African American tester, one Caucasian tester. They would have the same, characteristics and traits and things like that. And then they would report back, and we would, compare their experiences to see if, there were certain things left out or certain things shared with one, not the other. Maybe one was offered amenities and the other wasn't, or someone was quoted this rent and someone, the other visitor was quoted something else. So I really enjoyed that work, but I was laid off, and then I decided to come back to Rochester. I had been offered some positions there, but none of them really resonated with me. So I just decided to come back. So my time in Savannah really helped me grow. As I shared, I didn't have any, family or friends there. So it was a brand new experience. I was still in my 20s at that time. So it was a lot of fun to be, so far away from home and exploring a whole new part of the country, and,
mhm.
traveling. Savannah's so close to so many places. So I
Yeah.
would just go on the weekends, like drive down to Jacksonville and come back, and, Charleston and all those surrounding cities. So that also played into my love for solo travel. So I did a lot of that there. Enjoyed the beaches down there, Tybee Beach, and made a lot of friends. Still connected to quite a few people in Savannah. So I definitely feel that helped me mature and helped me become more independent as well. So I don't regret that experience. I'm glad that I did that. And the plan is to eventually move back down south to get away from the snow.
Yeah.
But I'm here for now.
I love that you mentioned solo travel. Like to me, I learned the most about myself and probably had some of the best experiences alone.
Yeah.
I love traveling by myself,
Mhm.
and yeah, I don't know, like something nothing will make you to me grow more than just kind of being alone with yourself
Mhm.
and in a new place
Mhm.
because it's all on you,
Mhm.
the connections you make, when you get to places, what you
Mhm.
accomplish, right? And it's really, I don't know, like it made me realize like in what ways I thrive socially or maybe not as much,
Mhm.
socially. Yeah, it's really interesting. I really encourage anybody, especially if you're in your 20s, right, to seize an opportunity to take a trip by yourself sometime, and anybody, it doesn't matter what age you are. I think like it's good. It's good to get that you time
Definitely.
in.
I agree.
Were you traveling a lot more before? I mean, obviously COVID has like, kind of
Mhm.
put a stick in it, but I mean, is that something you plan to do more of in the future?
For sure. Yeah. Pre-COVID, I was definitely traveling a lot more. I like to travel, business traveling. It's a lot of fun. I actually just recently went to Alabama. There was an author expo there at Stillman College, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I had a table there, promoting my editing services. And those are the types of events that I like to go to, conferences and workshops. Pretty much anything where I can learn. I enjoy. So that was a lot of fun. And then, in the future, I plan to travel for leisure, but also for business. I'm actually slated to go to South Africa in November of this year. That's
Wow.
actually a group travel, with actually AJ Excursions. So she's a local travel agent. So I'll be going with a group then. So that's my next big trip. I'm looking
Big
forward to that.
trip. That's a big trip. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've never, been there before. I've never been that far before, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then I have a trip to Denver coming up, and then where there's somewhere else I'm going in May. I can't remember, but yes, I definitely plan to increase my traveling now that some of the restrictions are being lifted.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I don't know, here in New York, at least speaking for it, like last night, I had a babysitter and I went to do writing and actually do some work. I went to Witchcraft Brews here in Webster.
Hmm.
And I just sat, I packed with my computer, got a flight of beer,
Hmm.
and like just had a session. And Beau came and joined me. And it was the first time that we could actually order a drink without having to buy like a meal. And
Yeah.
it just made me like, so I called Beau. I'm like, Beau, you're not going to believe this, but like, the restrictions like
Hmm.
lifted. And,
Hmm.
I don't know, as we like inch closer to normalcy again,
Hmm.
it's like, you don't realize how much like these little things make a difference in your life and in like in terms of like your freedom
Hmm.
and how you feel like truly about the situation at hand. And yeah, I don't know, it's funny, so we celebrated last night, but then I
Hmm.
came home and Beau put on this movie, I think it's called Nomad or
Okay.
something about Nomad. It just won Best Picture at the Oscars. And
Never heard of
I
it.
watched as, much as my eyes could like not get
Hmm.
heavy for it. It was very good. I
Hmm.
want to actually watch the rest of it, but it's interesting because it's about people that like live mobily. And this is something that like I honestly like I would love to just like sell my house and like
Hmm.
buy like a bus and live on it and like just travel the world and play music, write, like do everything that I'm doing on the road.
Yeah.
And I hope to do that someday, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I was
But
gonna say it's so interesting you said that because I've been doing research on stationary RV living.
uh-huh.
So that was something I was actually looking into. Um, there's a lot that comes with it, but I thought it would be a cool experience to have,
That'd be
to just,
awesome.
yeah, just to be able to have that community there and kind of not have that, stationary house. Like if you want to get up and go, you get your truck and you have your RV right there. So it's unconventional, but that's something that I've been looking into more recently.
Yeah, the challenge for us is we have a 4-year-old, so he goes into school full time next year. And it's but I mean, I always like entertain like this idea in my head, like how feasible it is because of everything that just happened with COVID,
Hmm.
and now what things like going our world going so virtual, like I wonder
Hmm.
how if we were to homeschool him like on the road,
Right.
like and if like schooling starts moving in that direction, is this something like that's maybe closer, you know eh, maybe not so far into the future as
Hmm.
like it feels,
Right.
but yeah, it's interesting though, like I don't think Beau was like really that impressed by the
Hmm.
movie, but I was like, what
Hmm.
intrigued me about it is like the fact that the stories, like
Hmm.
what brings people and what personalities are brought to um to to move like that,
Hmm.
and to live a life that's a chosen lifestyle, and it's most likely less glamorous than,
Right.
but at the same time, like you have to be like an experience driven person,
Hmm.
to learn. And in this movie there was like people that were terminally ill, and people that they kept meeting at like the next stop, more to
Hmm.
say, and the relationships they develop on the road and the
Hmm.
jobs that they acquire just to kind of get by in a new place.
Yeah.
It was cool. I'm going to watch the rest of it tonight.
Mhm.
But I recommend it if you
Okay.
get a free moment,
Mhm.
and you're just like unwinding, you should check it out.
Mhm.
But yeah, so CaTyra, Thank you. It's always
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure to have you. I
Yes.
mean, honestly, I always enjoy our conversations and learning more about the writing field. It's
Mhm.
awesome. Tell our audience where they could be directed to your services, buy your book, where
For
they
sure.
could sign up for mentorship one more time under the
Yes.
Walker's legacy.
For sure. So if you're interested in being a mentor for Walker's Legacy Foundation, you can email me at katyra@walkerslegacy.com, or you can go directly to our website, walkerslegacy.org, and fill out an application. If you're interested in learning more about Love for Words, you can visit my website at polandllc.com. That's two L's in Poland. My books are also on my website, polandllc.com/shop. If you're interested in a consultation, you can register on my website as well at polandllc.com.
You're the best, KaTyra. Always love
Thank
having you.
you.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So sorry to you all at home for our loss of MEARA. She had some complications with logging in with us today, but thank you again for KaTyra. I'm happy to have the extra time with her. So today's theme is self-evolution. My thoughts. It's crucial that we weigh our personal commitments to ourselves as being just as important as those that we commit to others. Often we put ourselves on the back burner. Happiness is a complex concept and it consists of many components. And most of all, it demands genuine commitment and your conscious decision to pursue it actively. Maintaining an open mindedness about what areas of your life need improvement, making alterations as you go, more to say, can be a total game changer and really allow you to lead a more balanced, fulfilled life. As creatures of habits, remain conscious of what impact the things you're feeding your brain, body, and soul, what these things have overall on your overall being. Determine what needs improvement by asking yourself questions, questions such as, hey, am I in good company? Do the people in my life motivate? Do they encourage? Do they inspire me? Who and what are my life's agitators? Who and what could I do without? You know, who are my mentors? Talking about mentorship. Do I need a mentor? How can I use my strengths and knowledge to positively mentor and impact the life of another? Do I allow myself enough of a recharge? Do I get enough rest? Do I get enough exercise? Do I get enough downtime to just breathe and do a little bit more of what I enjoy? In what ways does the information I absorb through reading, through media and entertainment, how does that positively serve me and make me a better me? What information am I allowing to feed my head? What goals, small and long term, are important for me to meet? How open am I to new experiences and to trying something new? Am I challenging myself enough? That's the biggie, right? If we want to grow, we have to be challenged. How comfortable are you in your situation? Or is the fear of starting something new holding you back from actually pursuing the things that deep down, that's really where you want to be at? What have my setbacks and failures taught me? And how can I grow from my experience and not let that deter any of my future plans? Asking yourself such questions and honestly answering, it's a perfect starting point in determining where to make those life alterations and to begin working your way towards a I can talk, healthier, happier existence. Only you stand in your way. So seize the day. Every day is a new opportunity to be stronger, to be a better, to be a happier and a healthier you. Thank you all for tuning into our program today. Big thanks to CaTyra Polland. And thank you to Beau Productions, to our sponsors, Rochester Woman Online, Bridget Hoag at Empire Realty, to Chris Sirianni at itinsightsrock.com. You guys rock. Thank you for your support. We're going on break. So we have these next 2 weeks to get our butts in gear, and we'll be back with a fresh lineup of shows and incredible conversations and discussions to keep you inspired. Check us out on podcasting networks. We have our first 50 episodes uploaded there if you would like to catch up on our previous work. And we will see you back here soon. Thank you. Have a great weekend.